Australia's richest man says he's convinced key US Senator Joe Manchin to go into green hydrogen. Sky News Washington correspondent Annelise Nielsen sat down with the mining magnate Andrew Forrest before his meeting with President Joe Biden, where he also promised to raise the case of the detained Australian journalist Cheng Lei with the Chinese authorities. Annelise began by asking Twiggy Forrest about the major hydrogen deal he's just signed in Germany.
No, we're going to kick it into place 24, 25, we intend to start. Yes, it's going to ramp up by 2030. But if you're relying on a huge amount of foreign receipts from selling your liquid natural gas, which you can almost sell as a waste product to get rid of it to get to the oil, which is what Russia does, which is why I just say no one's ever going to compete with Russia. The only way to properly compete with Russia is not to buy LNG at all. And then it doesn't matter how cheap if he's got oceans of the stuff. You know, it's irrelevant. My argument across Europe is don't compete with him, replace the product with a fuel which will not hurt Ukraine, cannot hurt Ukraine, and protects the environment. And that is, of course, green hydrogen.
Well, look, you've just got to the US after Biden's made this announcement. They're going to be releasing 1 million barrels of oil per day, I think it is, from their oil reserves because fuel prices are just skyrocketing here. It is a real cost of living crunch. This kind of technology can't swing in here in the time that they need.
Well, look, it's not going to swing in the next 3 or 4 months, but it's going to swing in the next 3 or 4 years. We have some really exciting developments here in the United States. The US is poised. I have met with President Biden in Scotland, detailed our plans in Australia. He got really excited, saying, look, if you can do that in Australia, can I tell you it'll be several times bigger if you get to the United States? So, I wanted to prove or disprove that particular contention. I've now been to the United States, I've been out to West Virginia, I've seen these huge coal-fired power stations. There is so much potential here, Annelise, for green hydrogen. It's massive.
So you met with Senator Joe Manchin. I mean, arguably, he's the most powerful man in the country right now. He's make or break in the Senate. And his entire power base is from coal. Do you really think you can get him on board with hydrogen?
Look, his entire power base is employment. So he's not going to hurt employment because he's there as a responsible senator to make sure that people don't lose their jobs. And it's tragic in places like Ohio, West Virginia. People are losing their jobs by the hundreds and even by the thousands from coal-fired power stations, coal mining, and there's nowhere for the poor people to go. Their skill is that. We come in and say, actually, you have everything you need for green future. You've got all the linkages, you've got all the pipelines, you've got the industrial base. We just need the green electrons. Senator Manchin really understands that. It was an epiphany. He now says, oh my God, the future of all those thousands of people who are looking at losing their careers, full stop, actually will have better careers. It'll just be green. How great is that?
I wanted to ask you about the Australia-China relationship as well. This week we've got Australian journalist Cheng Lei facing a closed court. She's been held for 19 months. I've been quite forward in the fact that I used to work with her and campaigned on her behalf, so I'll declare that conflict right there. But we have seen senior business leaders come out and say to China that they do think that it is not helpful to the China relationship. In particular, Warwick Smith said, denying her the opportunity to be with family. That is, in my view, not a justice system that you can admire. It's a justice system that should be criticised and criticised strongly at every available opportunity. The Trade Minister agreed. Do you agree as well?
Look, my view is that this is for an Australian who loves his country, who's grown up with the rule of law, with a public judicial system. I would naturally say, let's have a public judicial system. Have the rule of law lock into place, and there's nothing like both the sanity and the clear air of putting the public light on a judicial process. So I naturally advocate for that. And I hold my criticism of China for behind closed doors, where I can really bang boardroom tables. I'm not a spokesperson who shouts at people through headlines, but I can tell you China knows exactly where I stand on modern slavery, on Taiwan, on these critical issues, because I tell them point blank.
Have you raised Cheng Lei's case at all?
I have not raised that case. You are putting it to me. I'm not familiar with it.
Do you think that the relationship with China can thaw while we have these kind of issues?
Oh, certainly. I mean, you know, within families you can have really serious disagreements. It doesn't stop a family. I feel very strongly that you don't deal with nations through megaphones, you don't deal with nations through publicity, which might or might not help your election or help your political career or make you look tough to the Australian public. I believe if you're really genuine, you do what I do and you risk your personal relationship by being very honest with them behind closed doors, over a table, not over a newspaper. So that's what I do. And I believe I have Chinese respect for that. And you've raised this Cheng Lei matter. I will certainly be raising it.
Back to DC. This is just an unprecedented level of access you're getting to the Biden administration, really, especially compared to what we've seen the Australian government get. What do you think is the one thing that motivates this administration more than anything else?
I think they know that they're in charge, like the other leaders around the world, of a planet which is cooking. The evidence is everywhere now. It's not theory, it's not forecasts or predictions, it's happening to us. And I've come with a fully economic solution, a practical, implementable solution, which is green hydrogen and green ammonia and green electricity, can do everything which fossil fuel does.
Well, we have to leave it there, but thank you for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thanks, Annelise.